We understand that, and we do know day 100 is Saturday, okay? Saturday will be day 100, and let me make sure my volume is off because we want to have a serious show today. But Saturday will be day 100, and tomorrow we will be at Blue Jeans Pizza in Blue Ridge, Georgia. So we won't be able to do the show tomorrow. So we will be talking about Trump's 100 days. Now, for the first hour, I'm going to go through just a whole list of pictures, a couple videos, small videos, and just try to remember as much as I can about this 100 days. I went home. If you go to Trump's Twitter feed at Real Donald Trump, I think there's 34,000 tweets. 34,000. Okay, and just recently, as 15 minutes ago, the President of the United States sent out a tweet. So I read not all 34,000, but I started on Inauguration Day. I read almost every tweet till close to midnight last night and started again this morning. And what I realized, and it's not just today, is that there is absolutely no way for any media outlet, no matter who you're talking to, unless they do a 24-hour special, and I'm being very serious, can they document this man's 100 days in office? It's not going to be possible. Also, we know that a good portion of the shows concerning 100 days will be negative. We know that also. This in my lifetime, I put it out on Facebook, this in my lifetime is the hardest working president I've ever seen. I've never seen a president work like this in my life. Now, let's start with the 100 days, okay? The first, let's go with a little background on the 100 days. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, okay, he would do radio addresses. And for all the media out there, and everybody's putting this window of 100 days on Trump, and it goes back to where he went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and he did a first 100-day speech of what he would do for the American people, okay? And you and I both know he needs Congress and several other things to be in place to achieve everything he would like to do for you, the people. But that being said, the first 100 days of the first term of the presidency of the United States is something used to measure the successes and accomplishments of a president during the time that the president's power and influence are at the greatest. So most of the time, when a president comes into office, and we'll explain this also, into office, usually this measure of time is when they have the most influence, they're riding all the highs, people don't look at, and this goes all the way back to Roosevelt, people don't look at the president negative. There was the old such thing as give the guy a chance. So that's where it was. The term was coined July 24th, 1933, in a radio address by U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Although he was referring to, now this is what the media leaves out, he was referring to the 100-day session of the 73rd United States Congress. So it's not 100 days rather than 100 days. That's what we hear. That's what it's all about for the media, 100 days. But the truth is, there's nothing official about it, but Franklin Delano Roosevelt was referring to the first 100 days that Congress was in session, had been in session. So just a little background of where we got this artificial line in the sand for presidents to hit 100 days. Okay, now let's go next to, first of all, let me set this up, Sam. Your President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief. So before we get into anything else, my priority today as Commander-in-Chief, you'll hear the President say all too many times that his greatest role as Commander-in-Chief is to protect you, the people. This guy behind me has the ability at any given time, okay, to authorize military use. Now, maybe not enter a war. We're not doing that today, splitting hairs on what congressionally or constitutionally the president has to do. So I am going to share this. When you're voting for President of the United States and you're young out there, there are other things that may take precedence and be a priority in your vote when you cast your vote. But I'm going to make you a promise today that I would like you to remember. The day you go cast your vote for the President of the United States and your son or daughter will become 18 years old during the term of that president, I don't know about you, but it certainly had a bearing on my vote when the man or woman in the future that may be president can send your son or daughter to war. And that's just a fact. So you may be out there 20, 25, 30, you don't think about these things in your vote. You're thinking more, I hate to say it like this, selfish, what am I getting? All right, and that's not what the show's about. But I'll tell you what, you have that son or daughter at 17 and it's time to go vote, and that person can send your son or daughter to war, you will think about it. I think I don't want to call, well, it is a negative as far as the worst thing for me in 100 days not that Trump has done, that has happened in 100 days. We need to look at the very first casualty, this President of the United States in his administration. Chief Special Warfare Operator William Owens, a Navy SEAL from Peoria, Illinois, was killed in Yemen. As Commander-in-Chief, and I have chills this morning because we have to do this. As Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump will now have to live every day with the thought of the men and women that sacrificed for this country at any time that he gave the order. And I tell you what, you do have a Commander-in-Chief that understands that. But that is the first casualty of this 100 days of this president's administration, William Owen in Yemen. Now, this one is tough for me, and actually, when I was going through the pictures this morning, I did tear up over this. Remember the joint address to Congress? The joint address to Congress that Trump gave, okay? It wasn't a State of the Union because it wasn't officially a State of the Union, but it was a joint address to Congress. And you remember this famous picture of Carrie, is it Carrie or Karen Owens? Huh?
Karen.
That's how she spells it. Karen Owens, William Owens' wife. Karen Owens, the wife of slain Navy SEAL William Ryan Owens, looks up as the president's talking. You remember that night? So I just thought that we're going to have to start right there with the first 100 days in this president's administration. Now, let's move to this guy. Let's look at some newspaper headlines. We just picked 2 or 3, okay? And you wonder why this guy, the Daily News, dawn of the brain dead, right? Donald Trump is brain dead. What's the next one? Clown runs for president. Remember that one? Okay. Back up one more time, just to that. Clown runs for president. Now you understand he's running for president at this time, so you wonder why he really loves the media. Okay, next one. I'm with stupid. Okay, that was a good one, right? And then this one here. Grab them by the, right? Remember that one? And is that all the newspaper clips?
Yes. Sam,
I sent you one that said from it's about the world being in fear. I forget what, which, The Guardian. It's from The Guardian. the world in fear of Trump, or something like that. It's not a picture, it's a blocked statement. It was gray. If you find that, go ahead and throw that up. I sent that this morning, okay? So that's how we would, there you go. Now, let's finish off. This is from The Guardian. President Trump fills world leaders with fear. It's gone from funny to really scary. U.S. News, The Guardian. World with fear. So today is not about me getting upset and refuting that and arguing with it, okay? But that is basically, this is how this guy was set up. This is how he was to be perceived. And immediately from Inauguration Day, this is how he was treated. Now, I thought that I was going to have a tough time today trying to box in 100 days from this President of the United States, and I found out it's very true. Do you remember when, this guy is brilliant, do you remember when it just seems like it was 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when everybody was up in arms about how the Freedom Caucus was being treated, how Trump treated the Freedom Caucus over health care? All right. This morning, healthcare overhaul, Freedom Caucus backs revised plan. So did Trump really upset? Okay. Did he really upset? All right. The Freedom Caucus so bad that they wouldn't come back to the table over health care? Or has the media been telling you lies basically from day one about this president? What is that next clip I told you I wanted to do right at the beginning? Did I have one more, or was that it? That was all it. Okay, now this morning, we are talking about the 100 days, and we're going to go through, Sam's just going to pull up pictures and we're going to talk about them. When I get to foreign policy, she's going to pull up pictures, we'll talk about them. She's going to look for pictures. We must have put 300. I clipped 60 tweets last night and sent, so we're going to go that route. Now, the tax plan. See, that's the health care plan, okay? May come to a vote Friday. The tax plan, all right? Go down through there and see if you find any picture that says Trump's tax plan. Anything that says his tax plan, just go ahead and start putting them up. Now, Steve Mnuchin yesterday, and Cohn, Gary Cohn, I guess his name, all right, here you go. President Trump's tax plan, all right? Create 3 tax brackets, double couple deductions, lower business tax rates. That's the tax plan yesterday. Anything else you found? No, that's all. Okay. Now, this video we're about to play is yesterday, the revealing of the tax plan. It's only a minute and something long. This is 100 days. This is all about Trump today, nothing else. So go ahead and play that video, and then we'll come back and keep talking about several of the pictures.
We are going to cut taxes and simplify the tax code by taking the current 7 tax brackets we have today and reducing them to only 3 brackets. A 10% bracket, a 25% bracket, and a 35% bracket. We're going to double the standard deduction so that a married couple won't pay any taxes on the first $24,000 of income they earn. So in essence, we are creating a 0 tax rate. Yes, a 0 tax rate for the first $24,000 that a couple earns. The larger standard deduction also leads to simplification because far fewer taxpayers will need to itemize, which means their tax form can go back, yes, to that one simple page that I talked about earlier. Families in this country will also benefit from tax relief to help them with child and dependent care expenses. We are going to repeal the alternative minimum tax. The AMT creates significant complications and burdens which require taxpayers to do their taxes twice to see which is higher. That makes no sense, and we should have one simple tax code. As we all know, Job creation and economic growth is the top priority of the administration. Nothing drives economic growth like capital investment. Therefore, we are going to return the top capital gains tax rate and dividend rate to 20%, repealing the harmful 3.8% Obamacare tax on dividends and capital gains. That tax has been a direct hit on investment income and small business owners. We're going to repeal the death tax. The threat of being hit by the death tax leads small business owners and farmers in this country to waste countless hours and resources on complicated estate planning to make sure their children aren't hit with a huge tax when they die. No one wants to see their children have to sell the family business to pay an unfair tax. We're going to eliminate most of the tax breaks that are mainly benefits to high-income individuals. Home ownership, charitable giving, and retirement savings will be protected, but other tax benefits will be eliminated. This isn't going to be easy. Doing big things never is. We will be attacked from the left and we'll be attacked from the right, but one thing is certain. I would never, ever bet against this president. He will get this done for the American people. With that, I'm going to turn over to Secretary Mnuchin to go through the business tax plan, and then we will both come back and take questions.
Folks, I would never, ever bet against this president. We're going to be attacked from the left. We're going to be attacked from the right. Now, we're talking about 100 days, and we're just getting back to yesterday. Okay, because these things the media have told you for the first 98 days, okay, 98 days that Trump had no plan. Now, I just want to say, there's your tax plan. How clear was that? 7 brackets to 3, 10, 25, and 35. The death tax is gone, all right? You pay taxes your entire life. You work your whole life, maybe to give it to your children, whatever you plan to do. And then when you die, you have to pay taxes on that money again. So not only the taxes we pay in this country, the money that we pay on 2 and 3 times, okay, gone. From the left and the right, they will be attacked. But never, ever bet against this president. Okay, so there's the tax plan, all right? Repeal and replace. It seems to me that the Freedom Caucus is right back up there. I think that's Mike Meadows from North Carolina, all right? The Freedom Caucus is right back up there, ready to go to back the president. So did Donald Trump fail in his first attempt on repeal and replace? Or is that the art of the deal? Or is that the negotiation? Is that the businessman we hired, yes, and voted for? So I think we're going to get repeal and replace. On day 99, day 100, maybe day 103, and a new tax plan. So all I keep hearing about, let's go ahead and look at, find us the picture of the Trump Southern White House. Okay, that's Mar-a-Lago, all right? Can't waste our time today going down the road of why people are upset with this Trump Southern White House. Maybe it's because it's not Martha's Vineyard, and it's been a while since we had a president that did not have to have a charitable donation to rent something at Martha's Vineyard. Maybe it bothers some people that the guy over my shoulder owns that. He's not visiting. He owns Mar-a-Lago. Is it upsetting to some that he made enough money to build that? But that's the Southern White House they complain about. Now, show the golf course. Do I have one with him and the president of, or prime minister of Japan? I don't know how I have that. That's where he goes every weekend, okay? Do I have the one? There's one I sent that's got the prime minister of Japan and Donald Trump together Did I not? I didn't put that in? I don't think so. Okay. So I'll do that in the next one. Prime Minister of China playing golf. Trump needs a world leader buddy. Okay. That is Japan's Shinzo Abe. Is he the right man for the job? He's played golf at Mar-a-Lago. Do we have any pictures of President Xi, the Chinese? Yes. I think we did that from yesterday. And again, folks, we've got 300 pictures, and Sam's going to look around for them. And then as soon as we go to break, we'll set up another 10. So Mar-a-Lago, the Southern White House, all right, it's hosted several foreign leaders already, and one being President Xi of China just had a positive meeting with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has used our Southern White House. He owns it. He's used that as a place to discuss serious North Korea. Prime Minister of Japan has visited Mar-a-Lago, played golf there. So for all the critics. Now I'm your host, BKP. Good morning. This is 100 Days. Now in the second hour, Joanne and Rick are going to be in here, and they're going to highlight the things that they've enjoyed about the first 100 days. So we know we're looking at this president, the hardest working president in my lifetime, a lot different. Look at that, 22 minutes, Sam. We only got, and I'm trying to condense everything I say. We only got 2 days in. This guy's like all over the world. So we'll pick out 10 more pictures, Sam and I will, during the break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Family-owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices,
friendly service, and delicious Mexican cuisine.
patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in Ellijay.
Better days ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. We make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Folks, we're back, and I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We are North Georgia's only live online morning show. We are discussing 100 days. There's no way in 2 hours. I told you when we opened the show, any network that says they could do it in a couple hours, it would take 24 hours. It's the hardest working man ever, President of the United States. So let's go through some Inauguration Day pictures, and Sam's, we've picked out 6 or 7 Inauguration Day, and this is the 58th President inauguration, Donald Trump, and go to the next one. And here is the swearing in, and that is Justice John Roberts, Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and that is Ivanka, and it looks like Eric, and Donnie Jr., and the beautiful First Lady Melania, and Barron, looks like all the kids, Tiffany, right there, being sworn in. Go to the next one. Folks, could you save that picture? I mean, I probably am going to have to put that picture up next to Ronald Reagan. Next, wherever you get that, put that in a folder. It's a label a folder called BKP's Special Picks and put that in there. That is just one we were going through yesterday. That's a serious man willing to take on the burden of this country. And folks, it is a burden, okay? Others get elected to president for other reasons. We won't go down that road. We're staying focused on Donald here. Look at that, ready to take on the burden ahead of him, the problems within the world, within this country, so on and so forth. So go to the next inauguration picture. This is, they get out of the car in the parade on that day, and they're walking down through there. Melania looked wonderful, and Donald there, obviously in a red tie. They're walking down Pennsylvania Avenue there to the parade stand. Let's have another one if we have any. Now, I could not do 2 hours without some kind of humor. This is Donald Trump at the inauguration. This is the greatest transfer of power, peaceful transfer in the world. We have a former president, Barack Obama, and the new president there, Donald Trump. They embrace right there at the inauguration at the bottom of the steps. And President Trump is saying, "Are you sure you know how to get to the airport?" Get the next one, please. This is where President Trump's saying, "I can see you found the airport. Now get your blank on there, take Michelle, and go somewhere other than here." That's nice as I can be. But anyhow, that is how we do it in our country. The former president escorts the new president, escorts the former president, shakes his hand, wishes him well, and this is symbolic for the transfer of power. Now, while you're going through the other pictures, can you find me the family? I have one that just says Trump family. Find me that, and if you can get, if that wouldn't be hard to get, I would like to do that one before we go into foreign leaders, if we can. All right, there's the family. We can't do 100 days without the family. There is Eric. I don't know Eric's wife. There's our President of the United States. There's Barron, Melania, Donnie Jr., Ivanka, Tiffany, and Jared Kushner, and the grandchildren, okay? I just thought of another one, Sam. I think I sent you one over. It said Trump's grandchildren, if you can get that one. And there's the grandchildren. All right. Here is one with Ivanka. Is there 2 or just 1? Okay, here is one with Ivanka and the grandchildren. That's the new baby. And the Donald Trump's grandchildren getting off Air Force One. I did not get the picture, but there's a great picture, folks, of the President of the United States walking through the White House, across the White House lawn as he enters Air Force One, and he's holding the hands of his grandchildren as they walk down through there, and you can tell he's just having a very serious conversation. Would you think he would have anything else? He's probably asking the little one how he did in business class last week, but anyhow, that's what the children love about their grandfather. And for any time whatsoever you think that this guy doesn't have the best interest of America, words, pictures worth 1,000 words. Look at pictures of him walking his grandchildren to Air Force One. Now, that being said, during the election and once the transition was taking place, okay, we heard, all right, if we would believe what the media wanted us to, the portrayal of this president, they tried to lead us to believe that he could not stand on the world stage with any leader, no matter how small, okay? Saturday night made a joke where President Trump called the president of Zimbabwe, and the president of Zimbabwe even hung up the phone on him. We've done all that on the show. But if you were to listen to the media, the world was satisfied with the former president's leadership, and we were in so much fear of what he would do with NATO. We were so much fear of what he would do with all of our European allies. So much fear of what would happen in the world. He discussed China and devaluing the currency. He discussed, and if you think about it, before we get into foreign policy, the Twitter president that he is, and we have 10 tweets or more we'll look at today, but the Twitter president that he is, he let every foreign leader know what was going to be on the list whenever they met. Now, I will tell you this, you don't turn down a meeting with the President of the United States. Now, if you notice, they have all come here, right? I think for the most part, if I'm right or wrong. So, the media is shocked that this guy is able to stand on the stage with foreign leaders. So at this time right now, I've just asked Sam to start going through some pictures of Trump. We did a bunch of them. So anyone you find, Sam, put them up and wait till I say the next one. Okay, now, Sam, thank you for going to the one I can't pronounce first. You went right to the one. So anyhow, this is Donald Trump with the president. I'm going to take it to this is all non-scripted today. This is Donald Trump with the president of Egypt, okay? Forget the gentleman's name. President of Egypt, which shortly after the meeting with the president of Egypt, an American hostage was released in Egypt. So that's one there. Give me another one. This one here, President Donald Trump with Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, yeah. Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi. Okay, yeah. Don't throw me off. No curves. That's President Trump. I thought I better put my glasses on. Yes, there's Bibi, President Trump with Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu. Okay, go ahead, another one. There is Donald Trump with the Chinese President Xi. Very productive talks on North Korea. The very first time they had discussions that were supposed to be scheduled meetings for 15 minutes that went an hour and a half and two. The other day, when Trump was sending the USS Carl Vinson up to the South Asian Sea there, or the South China Sea, turned it around. He called the President Xi and was on the phone for an hour with him. I do feel today in foreign policy that China is not going to devalue their currency, and they know the rules. Donald Trump set the rules with China, said, look, I'm going to come out, this is my opinion, and I'm going to tell the world that I'm not going to label you a devaluing the currency, all right? And I'm not going to do that, but then if you do it, I'll be left with no choice. Great meeting. China is helping with the negotiations with North Korea, and Trump has forged a relationship with China. The last time I personally, now I don't want to go into age, but I was not old enough to totally understand it, but I did see the pictures. I actually remember the landing, and I remember the trip. But I've had to read, for the most part, in the history books. But when Nixon went to China, all right? So you're going to see Trump go to China, watch that on the horizon, but what a relationship there. Now, this is for a guy that, a bumbling idiot, as the press would lead you to believe. Go to another one. Just any foreign leader, Sam. Keep them going. I'll let you know. Okay, this is the president or king. This is King Assad. King Assad. Abdullah. King Abdullah. Did I say Assad? Okay. Assad is Syria. Okay. Wow, Sam's been paying attention. That was a test. Okay, no it wasn't. I got it wrong. That is King Abdullah from Jordan. Okay. Right there with the President of the United States. Great meeting. King Abdullah. Let's go for another one. This would be Germany. Angela Merkel. That we picked that one out because he is shaking her hand. And the only thing the media knew how to say was, that the awkward moment where Trump didn't know if he was supposed to shake the chancellor. I think it's the German chancellor. You have chancellors, prime ministers, presidents, dictators. The chancellor, Angela Merkel from Germany, shaking her hand. She visits. They have a good meeting. Nothing really negative that we're hearing. And also, I will just step out and say, Angela Merkel is taking notice of how well Trump is being received by China. Trump is being received by Egypt, by Jordan, all over the world, Japan. And with the elections right now in France with Le Pen, I will tell you right now, that lady right there is taking notice. The EU is very concerned, and that's good for us. Okay, next one. This would be Justin Trudeau. I think he's prime minister. Canada has a prime minister. And that'd be Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Now, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is smiling that day. Hey, President of the United States, he's meeting with everybody. That's the way he does it. He is smiling that day, but I think in the last couple days, the President of the United States tariff that he put in place, he said, hey, our dairy farmers from Wisconsin, the timber industry up through Washington State, the northern border, we talk about the southern border all the time, but Trump within 100 days has jumped on the northern border, whether you believe in tariffs or not or agree, northern border, and he says to those states, hey, we always talk about Texas, we talk about Arizona, we talk about New Mexico, and we talk about the southern border, but where it comes to trade, all right, where it comes to trade, also on there, when you get a minute, anything that I have that says NAFTA or anything, if you have anything, but not right now. But when it comes to trade, so just 2 days ago, Justin Trudeau might not be smiling, but the people in Wisconsin and the northern border of our country, Trump says, hey, this is how it's going to be. So give me another foreign leader there. I don't have any more foreign leaders. Don't I have Theresa May? Okay, I mean, I know we picked out so many, so anybody else, just go through there if you see anybody else, and we do some more. So, Sam, we picked out a couple on Theresa May, so when you get those, just go ahead and go with them. Okay, here's Theresa May, Prime Minister of Great Britain. And what is between the two of them, folks? The bust of Winston Churchill. Remember, the former president removed Winston Churchill's bust from the Oval Office. Trump returned it, and the Prime Minister and Donald Trump, Theresa May. Give me another one. You got another Theresa May? Here is another podium meeting for Theresa May and the Prime Minister of Great Britain and Donald Trump. Folks, I don't know. We'll look and see if any more. But foreign policy, okay? President Donald Trump on foreign policy is, you are in just 100 days, America is the leader again in the free world. Now, I'm not making this about myself today in any way whatsoever, but you know I'm not a globalist, okay? We know that, all right, if you ever watch the show. I guess identifying myself, I'm a nationalist, all right? Love my country, absolutely. Love my country, pledge of allegiance to the flag on a daily basis. Believe in my constitutional rights, believe that I should be able to buy a piece of property, and at no time should you tell me what to do with it. I actually believe property taxes are wrong. We'll get into that one day, okay? But that's how I believe. But we have to be the leader of the free world. And the reason being, I know you out there get nervous and you say, we don't want involved in the world's problems. Well, if we're a country that helped create the world's problems, and the world's problems are bringing danger to our homeland, we have to concern ourselves with them. So ISIS, you got a picture of that MOAB, the mother, huh? Okay, let's stay on a little bit of foreign policy here. The world knows that this man is serious. Within 100 days, President Donald Trump dropped the mother of all bombs. That is the strongest bomb made that we have, that we drop, that is not a nuclear weapon. He dropped that on some caves over there in Afghanistan. ISIS is scattering all over the world. We will have trouble, folks, trying to get the isolated person in our backyard, because believe it or not, they're in our back. That is still going to be a struggle. But as far as a unifying force, Donald Trump has dropped that and let them know he is serious. Now, many feel, hey, you know what? And they're taking him serious. And North Korea is taking him serious. So many argue that the missiles, you got the Tomahawk missiles into Syria. Okay, we launched 59 Tomahawk missiles into Syria. Okay, a lot of debate and argument over that. Donald Trump and our intelligence has reported that Assad used chemical gas weapons on his people, and Trump said, I don't have the same line in the sand as the previous guy in the office. My line in the sand is, you do it, we answer. So, hey, controversy on the use of this force, but Donald Trump, within 100 days, has let Russia know, we're not afraid of you being, 500 foot away from where one of these land. You're going to have a choice. So for everything we'll get into later, the Russian connection to the Trump presidency has definitely been strained now. Okay? So that is many things that are happening around the world with this foreign leader. This foreign leader has, Donald Trump on the foreign stage has let North Korea know he will not tolerate this. Also with Iran, regardless of what you hear. So, I think we only did 3 days. He did all that in 3 days. I do not know how to get 97 days in now. I mean,
I told you that yesterday.
Sam said yesterday, you'll never do this in 2 hours. But I'm going to tell you now, what? Healthcare, okay, tax reform, executive orders, 9th Circuit District. I'm going to take a brief break. We're going to come back, do 10 more pictures, and then at 9 o'clock, I'm going to have 2 more people with me as we finish our 2-hour special on 100 days of President Donald Trump. Take us a break, Sam. Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
Spring is one of the best times of year to visit the North Georgia mountains. Not only do we celebrate fall apples in Gilmer County, we celebrate the blossoms of spring. The Georgia Apple Blossom Festival brings one exciting weekend to East Ellijay, Georgia. This free, pet-friendly event has over 50 hand-selected regional vendors offering food, art, crafts, kids' activities, and more. For more information, visit GeorgiaAppleBlossomFestival.com.
And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Now we're going to take about the next 6 minutes here before 9 o'clock, and we're going to have 2 other people come in, and we're going to discuss with Joanne and Rick the first 100 days. We're going to get some other people in the conversation. We are having a little trouble getting 100 days into 2 hours. And again, I told you there will be no network, okay, that can do a true 100 days. No network that can do a true 100 days that doesn't take 24 hours. So this president, hardest working president, my theme this morning, this is the hardest working man I've ever seen in the White House. So let's just go through some pictures, Sam, of, let's go through some pictures of just any meetings in the office. Okay, coal miners, remember this? Now regulations. Donald Trump has rolled back regulations in the area of $67 billion in cost of business. I mean, it's enormous, okay? So we'll talk about the wall later, but $67 billion and just what it's going to save businesses and regulations. This is the day where he has coal miners from Kentucky, West Virginia, and other areas to the White House, takes them into the Oval Office when he is signing an executive order to roll back regulations that were put in place by the last administration to get these guys back to work. Let's go to another picture. That would be the same day. That's another one with them in there. Go to another one. Okay, this is the signing of an executive order. I'm not for sure which one this is, but that's a group there of business leaders that are with him. Let's go to another one. This is Rand Paul on the same day. This is a senator from Kentucky. This is the same day President Donald Trump signed an executive order rolling back regulations to put coal miners back to work that have been devastated through the last several years. Let's go to another one. This is the same day, and the reason I wanted to bring this up in this day is this is Joe Manchin is leaning over. Now the lady to the right is Capio, I think her name is Senator, I forget how you pronounce her name, but she is one of the senators from West Virginia, okay? The other one is Joe Manchin, okay? And Joe Manchin is the senator, he is the Democrat senator of West Virginia that has actually been in a box because the reality is he likes Donald Trump. He loves his state. I'm going to tell you now, Senator Joe Manchin loves his state of West Virginia, but he's a Democrat in a Republican state, and he is there that day, has no choice but to acknowledge the regulations being rolled back and supporting the president. That's my little, I always say, I will be shocked if Joe Manchin does not switch over to Republican here before 2018, but we'll see. Let's go to another one. This is the CEOs of the auto manufacturers, okay? The CEOs of the auto manufacturers, and I forget, that's the CEO of Ford, I forget his name, but that's the CEO of Ford, the auto manufacturers. And that being said there, if we went through pictures after pictures, Intel, okay, Toyota, all right, the list goes on and on. Toyota in Kentucky, Intel Corporation, all right. This is that with all of them that day? These are manufacturers, and it's the big three he meets with. He meets with General Motors, he meets with Chrysler, Ford, all of them are in there, meeting after meeting. Go to another one. Okay, this one here is that the union leaders? Yes. This is a group of union leaders. Folks, this is 100 days, okay? Here's a group of union leaders, brought them in, listening to their concerns, listening, seeing how they could get along and negotiate. And this is probably what's got most of the Democrats. We're not getting down that road today. We're staying focused on 100 days. This is probably what we got most Democrats concerned with right now is Trump reaching out and, you know, having the decency to sit down with anybody and listen to him. So this is union leaders right here. Let's go to another one. Okay, now this one is another one that I doubt you'll see on 100 days. I almost promise you right now, the union leaders, I don't know if you'll see that on 100-day tribute, and I don't know if you'll see this one. This is the leaders of the black colleges. These are, I think there was like 20-some, maybe 30 black colleges represented that day that were in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. That's one that I probably in 100 days people will not share with you, that his meeting with black colleges, okay? Anything else we got here? This is first responders. What does the bottom of that say? It was good to honor, okay, it was good to honor and welcome Atlanta's historic first responders to the White House. So this is a day where he brought the first responders in for the I-85 collapse here. He honored them at the White House and sat down, had a meeting with them, and took time with the first responders. Okay, next one. Okay, this is Brittany Ivy, and Brittany Ivy is from Toccoa, Georgia. All right, right over here in Toccoa, Georgia. And President Trump had a listening session with citizens all over the United States. They called in, I'm going to say a dozen, invited a dozen from all over the United States about a dozen from all over the United States to give their concerns, tell their stories about Obamacare, tell their stories about premium hikes, what it's done to their families, so on and so forth, their small business. He had small businesses in there. Okay, now, the Brittany Ivy is from Toccoa, Georgia. She was there. She was on our program. We interviewed her. This young lady, we wanted to especially use this picture because we wanted to say that what the media will portray. Remember, we started this morning all the pictures of Trump being a clown, and then all of the how he's been treated. This Brittany Ivy told us right here on this show that during traveling up to the White House, she was thinking that if she got there and he was anything like the media made him sound like, or to be, she had some concerns. But when she got there, he came in the room of people, and first of all, he said, I'm no better and I'm no different than you. We're all the same. So that was important to me, but that was a listening tour. You got any more? Okay, that's another one from one of the meetings. I don't remember which one that is. Go ahead. Anything else? Is that it? That is the very first. On the day he was inaugurated, that's the very first executive order, President Donald Trump. Manufacturers, okay? Retailers, all right? Retailers, manufacturers, small business owners. Remember, they came out and they said for the first time, all right, since they had been in business, were they ever invited to the White House for a small business retailer, okay? I forget the CEO of the one retail business. I'll try to think of that during the break. But those are just a handful of the meetings when he's not talking about North Korea, when he's not meeting with Rex Tillerson, when he's not meeting with Kelly, when he's not meeting with Jeff Sessions, when he's not returning education back to the states with Betsy DeVos. When he's not doing that, he takes time to meet. Then he goes on these rallies. We'll talk about that. It is 9:01. We're going to spend the next hour with two guests in here to get some other people's perspective about the president's first 100 days. Sam, take us to break.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in Ellijay.
Better days ahead.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Okay, we're back, and I'm your host, BKP, and we now have, you recognize Joanne from Friday on the All-Star panel, and I know you recognize Rick over here from the All-Star panel, and we're discussing, we do know Trump's first 100 days in office is not till Saturday, but this is the only time we can get together, run the pictures, run some video that we did. Tomorrow we'll be at Blue Jeans and Blue Ridge, and we'll not be able to do all the graphic work that we wanted to do, and then Saturday we won't be broadcasting. That being said, I've invited Rick and Joanne to get some other perspective of what they've been watching for the last 100 days, as you well know. Now, I'm going to just let you guys take off, but I want to just open up with this. I opened up the first hour, and I want to do it again for our audience. The 100-day margin is something that Franklin Delano Roosevelt did on a radio address, I think in 1933 or 19 whatever, and he did it on a radio address, and he actually meant first 100 days of session. Okay, so the media, which we know has put that into 100 straight days, but it's actually, he said what he wanted to accomplish within 100 days of Congress. So that's just a little background of where we got this. 100 days, how about we start with you? Anything from foreign policy? I know you guys knew yesterday we were starting to work on this, so go ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to know why he's trying to comply with this stigma of 100 days. I mean, why? He's never been a politician. The things that he has taken on to undertake are so complex and comprehensive that to try to do tax reform and repeal Obamacare and write a whole new health care plan in 100 days, I think is ludicrous. And I think he should have gone before the American people and stood up there and said, look folks, we're gonna get it done, but these things can't really be done in 100 days without rushing through something that's going to end up, you know,
you know, I really don't, I know he's mentioned 100 days, but I don't really think he did that as much. I know he said he wanted to do this in 100 days and that,
yes.
But that marker has been put out there by others, the media. They have, I think we're watching TV every day, and they've been doing, I call it the 100-day takedown.
But why didn't he just say,
well,
I'm not going to do it in 100 days, you know?
You follow him on Twitter? He just said that a couple days ago.
I don't follow him on
Okay,
Twitter.
well, before we move to Rick, we know how you feel about the 100 days, okay? We know how you feel about that. We're not asking you how you feel. Give me one thing that's really accomplishment or something, because I did an hour and I've only done 3 days, so there's 97 left for you guys.
First one that comes to head is the Keystone Pipeline. That, you know, I mean, it's been stalled for all these years. We could have had it finished by now. And, you know, on March 24th, they issued the permits to do the pipeline finally.
Off the top of your head, do you remember how many jobs that's supposed to create?
28,000.
28,000, and that was just overnight an approval, to set up an approval. I don't know the details, but going with the Keystone Pipeline, there's some discussion on this, but didn't you also say he wanted American steel with that also?
Yes, he did.
He wanted American steel right at the same time.
He definitely said that because I went and bought shares of American Steel, which is X on the stock exchange.
So are you, okay, so are you going to be doing a stock market show later? Are you auditioning for?
I would love to do a stock market show.
Okay, we start. Today is the launching of the FYN Business Network. Anyhow, Rick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I think getting back to the 100-day thing, you know, he campaigned on that, and I think the media is holding his feet to the fire. Because everything he's said in his campaign, regardless of the fact that he's now president, they're going after. So I think that's why this 100-day thing is so important to Trump and to the media. Because he campaigned on, I will do this, I will do that, and I will do the other thing in the first 100 days.
Do you not think the 100-day marker that he did campaign on, you're correct, but the American people see that he attempted everything he said he was going to do in 100 days?
Yes, absolutely.
And they're actually going to hold somebody else accountable for not?
Yes, they certainly should, because he thought he could probably do a lot of these things in 100 days because he had the Senate and the House. And they have blocked him every way from Sunday, along with some of the judges. I mean, it's, you know, he's only one person and he doesn't have the right to write legislation, you know, or fund legislation. He can just say what his programs are, and the House and the Senate are supposed to get this done. And they're blocking everything that he puts forward.
Well, my pick, and it's tough, my pick...
I've got a pick.
Don't
I get a pick?
Yeah, what?
Well, I think the biggest marker that he's put out there right now, which will have far-reaching implications well beyond however long he lasts, 4 years, 8 years, is the Supreme Court justice.
Yes.
Gorsuch.
Well, you know, in the first hour, I picked out so many different things, but I left that alone because I didn't know. I knew both of you would at a certain time. Gorsuch, and in 100 days for me, it's not all he's done, but if that's the accomplishment they call it, Gorsuch is one of the biggest promises that could give anybody out there that voted for him hope that he would keep the other promises.
That's exactly right. And the fact that he got it done within 100 days, I think, is monumental. I mean, no one's going to remember. I can't remember the nominee's name right now that sat out there for I don't know how long, from Obama.
Garland.
Yeah, no one's going to remember that 10 years from now.
Yeah, Garland was there for a year indicative of it.
Right.
Okay, what we're trying to do today is just keep discussing one right after another. of
Okay.
any accomplishments.
I got another one.
Go ahead.
Okay. One of the things he kept saying that he was going to do, and he did, was he signed an order that for every new regulation they had to eliminate 2.
Absolutely.
And that to me is incredible. Because that causes each one of those department heads that sitting out there at EPA or Department of Education that keep writing these things that they want either as executive order or to go through the legislature, they got to look through all of their regulations and pick 2 to get rid of. And that's going to be fun.
So let's just say it in simple terms that I understand. So if somebody goes out there in the EPA and they come back and they say, hey boss, I thought of a new regulation. Well, okay, get the form, and the form says new regulation, 2 to delete under. So you got to pick 2 to delete, and you say, okay, you want that one? Which 2 are you going to give up?
Right.
So I agree with that. Regulation, I seen something yesterday that regulation, just rolling back regulation is somewhere in the area of $67 billion in savings just off the box. Anything else? That's what we're discussing. 100 days.
Well, there's something out there that hasn't been recorded, won't be recorded, but one of the accomplishments, I think, is just the change of attitude in D.C. that he's brought to the table. You know, that's not going to get marked down as a piece of legislation, but just the aura of change, I think is healthy. The other thing that some people potentially don't understand, and I didn't until I really looked it up, was they say, well, he's done 66 executive orders. Well, he really hasn't. What he's done, there's 3 categories. And if people understood that an executive order is a piece of legal action, it's like a piece of legislation. And a lot of times incoming presidents will overturn previous executive orders. Those are written down, those are binding. Then you've got presidential memoranda. That's basically what happens when he assigns this to somebody in Congress to start looking at this for the potential of change down the road.
Yes, a good example of that would be the memo he did to Congress, basically directing them to withdraw from the TPP.
Correct.
And
TPP, right? Yeah. Exactly.
And that was an official direction, directive for us to withdraw
from TPP.
Yes.
The third one is proclamations. The third, what really is the 3 types of executive orders, are proclamations. An example of proclamations are like, this is Poison Prevention Week. This is Honor John Glenn Day. Those are proclamations, and those are just done basically to highlight holidays or honor something that's current. So 66 of those. He's only done, let's see, 24 executive orders, 22 memoranda, and 20 proclamations.
You know, Joanne, I know what you started out with, and I think you're 100% right. And let me just say, the only reason we're doing this is because we here at veterannews.com, Good Morning from the Office, we're not putting the president in the 100-day box. We're just giving an alternative of the 100 days that we know the media will do. I have watched the media every day. They headline 100 days. I mean, they treat this like this is the biggest event in political history, this 100 days. So that's the only reason we here are not putting him in a box, and that's what I wanted to do is everything that you think he's done, that's an accomplishment. Let me switch this, and I don't want to get down to media. Let's not waste our time there, but let me switch to this. Let me ask you a question. Pick something that the media together with Democrats and so on and so forth made Trump look as though he did not know how to govern, that you think he got them. He really knows what he's doing. I, for one, think he's brilliant. Okay? Is there anything that comes to mind on that? Or is there something you think he really blew out of the water?
Blew out of the water in a good way?
Yeah, good way or a bad way, or a bad way. Because there's things the media says he got wrong, or, he failed at this and he failed at that. But did he really fail? And is he coming back to win on things that,
One of the things that I think he did that gained universal acceptance from both sides and the media was the awareness of opioid abuse.
Absolutely.
And bringing that to the forefront and making sure that, I mean, how can you fault somebody for that? That's just a devastating problem nationwide.
He has all of his cabinet picks. Joanne, have you settled in on which is your favorite, or what cabinet pick has accomplished what you thought they would, or, I mean, who has just really stood out to you?
Well, I've been really pleased with both Tillotson as Secretary of State and Sessions as Attorney General. They have both are absolutely all day, every day, on the go, doing what they're supposed to do.
I would throw Madison to that as well.
Yeah.
Because I think those three, and I agree with your two assessments, I think those three are so key to his success.
And
go ahead.
I wish, but someone that I thought was going to really sort of hit the ground running and we'd hear a lot about was Ben Carson. And the media has been really silent on him, so either he's doing one heck of a job and they don't want us to know it, which is probably what's likely, or he hasn't been able to do anything yet. I mean, again, it's kind of hard to...
You want my prediction on Ben Carson? Is he got put into probably not the most highlighted role that is on a daily basis, because if you started right now and you may remember one, but if you start going into HUD secretaries back through administrations, they just don't jump out who was the HUD secretary. So it's not the most glamorous role, but I think he got one of the most difficult, and I know on the world stage with North Korea and Iran and Russia, but I think he got one of the most difficult because he is a guy that is really, every door he goes through, he's going through a layer of bureaucracy like we're not used to. I mean, that is probably the worst layer, HUD, housing, and he's probably meeting resistance everywhere he goes, and they hold him up, and I think he's doing due diligence. I think he's going through the country. Would you?
I mean, trying to clean up our cities, which is why, I mean, Ben Carson wanted that position. Everybody thought he was going to get Health and Human Services or whatever, but he wanted HUD because he has seen while he was campaigning for president the parts of this country that he was absolutely astonished and that tore at his heartstrings. And
well, he's lived it as well.
Yes, and plus between the riots during this with Ferguson and everything else and Baltimore, he said there's got to be a way to fix this, and most of it is the inner cities, that there's no hope for most of the people there. They just live generation after generation, and he wants to bring them hope. And that's something you couldn't do in 100 days. So I mean, and the city leaders in some of the, like Baltimore and Ferguson, and Baltimore specifically, since I'm much more familiar with that, I mean, they almost don't want change. They make money on the strife.
Right.
Okay? And they don't want everybody living in peace and harmony. And that's sad, but that's, I think, truly, if you look at all of our big cities and the mayors that run them, they've got to keep the oppressed oppressed.
Yes, we know that. That's wow.
Training ground for anarchy.
You have brought up 3 or 4 shows we have to do. I'm serious. I mean,
I'll make notes.
You're making stock. You're giving stock tips. Now you've got 3 or 4 shows.
Okay.
Rick, on the foreign stage, and we're going to come back with that. But let's start a little bit before we go to a little break here. On the foreign stage, I opened up the show showing so many of the newspaper clips and calling him a clown, and the world was in fear. How do you think he's doing with foreign policy and foreign leaders?
I mean, I can't remember a president in my lifetime that has taken the time so quickly to either entertain foreign leaders. When I say entertain, meet, greet,
right,
get a general understanding, or go visit. And if he hasn't done it, his big three have.
Right.
And they've literally introduced themselves to all of the key leaders around the country, around the world, and to let them know what the policy was going to be. I think his foreign policy has really come out of the ground strongly, and
to let them know we're back.
We're back.
Well, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, we're back.
I'm a nationalist and I'm not a globalist, but the reality is we have to be the world leader. We don't have a choice because of the position the world is in. For those out there that don't think we need to play a role in some areas, some I will agree with, but with technology and internet and communications, the world has shrunk. With weapons, the world has shrunk to where the old days of thinking, well, we have two oceans to separate us. Those things are yesterday, and today we deal in a different world. I want to pick up where you said, I think for all of the concern in foreign policy, I think that was a smokescreen, because I think what the other side thought was they're going to find out really what's happening. And Trump dispatched himself to Mar-a-Lago, whether it be, like you said, entertaining. He dispatched himself from Japan to China to Egypt to Jordan to Theresa May, the list goes on. So he dispatched himself to Mar-a-Lago, entertained all these people. Then he sent Pence, and he sent Mattis, and he sent Tillerson. Tillerson's, even whether we like it or not, he's been to Russia, okay? So it's almost like they got into Rome, and he's using his business personality.
Acumen.
And he's saying, yeah, this is exactly right. And he's saying, okay, folks, let's go see where we stand. You really can't make changes on the project. I mean, you use that business, construction. Let's see where we stand. We're taking over a project. Let's do the... And he went all through the world to see where he stands.
That's exactly what Tillerson did. Tillerson did too when he went over to Russia. He sat down and he said, okay, let's look at this from a business perspective. What are the problems? Prioritize them, and how do we solve each one till we get to the bottom of the list? That's what I think that's the MO. That's the MO that they're operating under.
Folks, we're going to take a brief break. It's 9:25 this morning. We are talking. Now, I want to say that I didn't say it earlier, and I'm glad you brought that up when we opened. I didn't say it earlier. We are not putting the president in the 100-day box. We just figure if everybody else out there is doing 100 days and going to be critical, which I know they are, then we would take time and do something in the 100-day area to highlight the positives that I see in the President of the United States. Take a brief break, and we're going to go a couple more directions when we get back with Rick and Joey. Take us a break, Sam. Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
Spring is one of the best times of year to visit the North Georgia mountains. Not only do we celebrate fall apples in Gilmer County, we celebrate the blossoms of spring. The Georgia Apple Blossom Festival brings one exciting weekend to East Ellijay, Georgia. This free, pet-friendly event has over 50 hand-selected regional vendors offering food, art, crafts, kids' activities, and more. For more information, visit GeorgiaAppleBlossomFestival.com.
I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm here with Rick and Joeen. And don't forget, at 10 o'clock today, stay tuned as soon as the show's over for the Katie Sassine Show. Immediately following this, we're talking about President Donald Trump's first 100 days. We're trying to stay positive. We've done 6 days. Jokingly enough, this guy has done, I'm calling him the hardest working president in my lifetime. He doesn't stop from one meeting to another. We could take another 10 minutes to talk about the CEO of Ford and all of the manufacturers, on and on and on. Now, but let's go with this. Let's go right up to date. Yesterday, the tax plan. Now, the media continues to say the tax plan, the tax plan, the tax plan. It's too gray. We don't know what it really is. Did either of you have a chance to see Cohen come out and give the tax plan yesterday?
I saw Mnuchin.
I mean, I saw highlights of it. I didn't see the live version, but
10, 20, 10, 25, and 35. That's simple if memory serves me right. 10%, 25, and 35. 7 brackets down to 3. Do away with the death tax. Do away with the double tax. That's kind of hard to explain, but I forget what they did. Double the spouse
marriage penalty.
Marriage penalty. I mean, not
double
penalty.
The penalty.
No.
The
credit.
Deduction.
The marriage credit. Yeah.
Deduction.
But anyhow,
exemption.
It was very well explained, and I think you'll get to. And here's what Cohen said. He said, we're going to get resistance from the left and from the right, but never think that this president's not going to get something done that he wants to do. Don't even think there's a possibility. All right? So, that being said, we have the taxes on the table. The health care is back.
The taxes, they made clear that was an outline. That was their goal.
Right.
And I thought it was brilliant. They get the tax plan goals out to the public in the first 100 days.
Exactly.
Now, what does the media focus on? Not to get down the negative road, but instead of looking at the good that it's going to do the middle class, what do they focus on? They focus on the death tax, and it was put in there to help rich people. Now, granted, people that have money, those are the ones that leave money to the next generation.
Yeah, but you know,
they took it one step further, and they said we're focusing on like the poor farmers. You know, if they die, then all of a sudden they're losing their farms.
There's farms. You hit the nail on the head. There's farms all across this country that the value of the farm, once the farmer dies, the kids cannot get together and pay the tax on it.
Right.
So they have to sell it and so forth. You're 100% right. Also in the tax plan, they cut the capital gains tax.
15%.
They cut the capital gains tax.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was the.
And we have,
talking about
my
corporate.
understanding is, we have trillions. I mean, it could be in the trillions of dollars offshore. So I struggle to say, but repatriate the money that could come over.
Yes, and that 10% on each one of those trillions is 10 billion. That's just free money that comes back in, but it also puts that money now in the U.S. to be spent. All right, whereas it's sitting over there in foreign countries, which doesn't do us any good. If the corporation has it back over here, not only did we collect the tax, but now they have the money to spend in the U.S., and that's a real plus. But another thing the media did was the child care deduction that they've increased. Okay, instead of explaining it how it would affect those people struggling with two families, you know, working, child care is very expensive, and if you've got two children, it's really expensive. All right. Instead, they described it that, so if you had a nanny, you can now deduct it, and only rich people have nannies. And I thought, you know, not very many people have nannies, and I realize it's mostly people with money, but almost every family that has children has child care deductions, you know, expenses, that now they can deduct more of it. And, you know, they just present everything in such a negative light that you don't get ever a chance to find out how it would affect you as an individual.
Well, I'll tell you this, I bought my first home, and I worked almost 10 straight years. And for a good part of the almost 10 straight years, I worked in multi-million-dollar houses, big homes. We constructed big homes. I mean, we worked on projects that we were there 7 and 8 months. And I was able to buy a house myself, buy a truck for me to drive to work, buy a modest car to put in the driveway. And I'm just telling you now, I mean, I for one, if, you know, somebody has the money, the death tax, if you have an estate and it's $4 million and you're going to leave $4 million, but the next thing you know, if you leave all four, you know, the kids might build houses, or whoever gets it might build houses, might reinvest in something, or not lose the family business. So I think the death tax to me benefits small business better than anyone else, because you have so many small business owners that amass a decent wealth. I mean, we look at the world as 100 billion and 100 million and 50 million, but you got some people that's made $3-4 million. They've made a decent living.
And they're comfortable.
It's a small business, right? But they worked all their lives for either their kids or grandkids, and now the government takes it. So that was big, the tax plan. Healthcare, back on the table. This is the question, because obviously I have an opinion.
Well, you've got something riding on this, because you've made a prediction.
No. I'm trying not to even go those directions in today's show.
Okay.
But sincerely, the health care bill, they may vote on it tomorrow. Mike Meadows from the Freedom Caucus is standing up. He's standing up and saying they can support it now. Did Trump fail from the beginning? Remember all the, I don't like how he treated you and I were in meetings. We've talked to people that, oh, I'm upset the way Trump treated the Freedom Caucus. Well, obviously, he didn't treat Jim Jordan and Mike Meadows that bad that they're back to the podium.
Jim Jordan was on this morning saying, if it doesn't change from its current proposed points, I'm in.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in. Did it fail, or is Trump exactly where he wants to be today?
Well, first of all, The reason that I have supported Trump since he first said that he even might run is he is a businessman and a negotiator, and he's the first to admit if he's wrong, okay? He listens to both sides and he can understand their point, and it might not have been how he was going that way, but he can see that, and he can go back and he modifies it and puts it in. And or puts in a version of it, and it's a give and take, and he's very good at that. And I think that behind the scenes they have been listening to everyone. I mean, he met with the Democrats. You know, the previous administration never met with the Republicans on anything, and so he met with both sides. He met with healthcare providers. He met with insurance companies. And
citizens, I mean, Brittany Ivy, we talked about that this morning, a young lady from Toccoa.
And so whatever it is they've done to it, there's so much going on in the world right now that, you know, and with the tax thing, that the tax bill, we haven't really seen what, at least I haven't seen. Have you seen the new health care bill?
I haven't seen it in detail, no.
Well, I think they said, and not to take up for them, they want to get most things ironed out to release it. So I'm not advocating that, but let me ask you a question, Rick. What if tomorrow, with Saturday being the 100th day, what if the House votes on a health care bill tomorrow and it passes? Would that take the wind right out of all of the networks for the weekend?
Well, I mean, it would from our perspective. But, you know, the media will find something else.
Yes.
You know, going back to what you just said and what Joanne was expanding on, in the past, when you've got a politician that brings something, or a group of politicians that put forth something and it fails, in the past it's just gone away.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
It's just gone away and never to be heard from again.
This. What comes to
we
mind,
got a deal maker.
What comes to mind is when George W. Bush went on TV, laid out this big, elaborate immigration plan to the American people. It got shot down. Not agree or disagree going down that road. It got shot down. It was over.
It's exactly right.
Trump took the biggest thing on, the biggest thing out there. Obamacare, repeal and replace, health care for some way whatsoever. Took it on, took it to the White House. It didn't get where it wanted to be, but it wasn't over.
I go back to the Tillerson method. A businessman will say, okay, this failed. Why did it fail?
Exactly.
They take the points.
Did it fail? Okay, it failed. But
sure, it failed.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. Did it fail, or did it put some jockeying for some people to be in position? Now, staying in the vein we're going, but you know, my thought was that Trump took everybody to the edge and let Paul Ryan jump over. I've always said that. He took Paul Ryan to the edge. I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing more embarrassing. When I say nothing, it's a big word, but for a Speaker of the House, there's nothing more embarrassing to come on national TV the morning of and say, I have the votes. Then you send your floor leader, which Congressman Doug Collins was the floor leader. You send the floor leader to start the debate, and then you have to admit you don't have the votes. That was a sting to Ryan. Now, what the outcome will be, I don't know. But I think that was a sting, and he's the one that jumped over the edge.
Well, and it really didn't fail in that, because he pulled it and it didn't go to the floor.
Okay.
All right, so.
But even so, as long as you keep working on it,
right.
a bill has to, if it does go to the floor, it either passes or it fails. But fails isn't dead, all right? Just because it didn't pass the vote.
It's been dead in the past, and that was the point I was trying to make earlier.
That version didn't pass.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it can't go back to committee. It can't be reworked to find out that the 8 people that voted against it that you were counting on, what did it need? And that's exactly what they did with the Freedom Caucus. The Freedom Caucus held, they felt...
They held their guns.
Yes, and they felt they had a directive from their constituents.
Constituents, right.
Yes, and from the people, especially the Tea Party groups of the country that elected them, that it wasn't conservative enough, it didn't accomplish a couple of things that they really had to have. And so that's what they've been working on behind the scenes, along with the tax reform and everything else. But, so I think Trump, I think did that, I mean, he, at the last minute, told him to pull it. He knew there weren't the votes, but he also knew it was going to come back, and whether it came back before the 100th day, if it was ready, it would. That's why he wouldn't put a date on it. He wasn't going to let it come out again until it was ready. And apparently it may be ready Saturday.
He knew it was going to come back. We just aren't used to that.
Right.
So everybody goes, well, that's dead. I guess he failed on that one. Wait a minute, wait a minute. It's a new way of doing things.
I think the guy's worked it. He's brilliant. Because what I did enjoy out of this, I say the word enjoy, what I did enjoy out of this was the 3 to 4 weeks that the media roundtable people continued to say, well, this is a sure sign that Trump doesn't know how Washington works. I think, I'll tell you what my friend, I'm going to use his name, I'll tell you what my friend Frank said yesterday.
Yes.
They're all playing checkers and Trump's the only one playing chess.
That's good.
That's what Frank said. Frank said their problem is every one of them's playing checkers. And Trump plays chess and they don't know what to do with him and he plays chess. Go ahead.
Okay, I've got a couple other things that I think are kind of sort of been hidden or they didn't get any media coverage, so it's like they never happened. But, you know, one of the things that the previous president did was he passed a gun control order that required the Social Security Administration to share the records of anyone on disability benefits so that they would not be able to ever own a gun, okay? It went into their background things, and if you were on disability, it prevented you from owning a gun. And one of the things that Trump did right at the very beginning is he totally nullified that order, and so the Social Security cannot share that information any longer. And, you know, people who are disabled probably need to own a gun, especially since a lot of them live in poorer areas, and they probably need to own a gun more than anybody. I know 2 or 3 people that have been robbed that are in wheelchairs simply because the person can grab their money and they can't really run after them, you know? And
what you just said is going to come to light this weekend when Trump speaks at the NRA, because I'm sure that will be highlighted.
Yes, it will.
And we're going to be able to see that, and that's a good point to bring up right now. It's very timely.
The NRA this week. He is the second president. Reagan, he's the last president to speak at the NRA convention was Reagan.
Correct.
Right. Well, let's go with that because, Rick, there are so many things. Is he keeping his word to conservatives? Is he keeping his word on his, is he keeping his promises? Not to put him in a 100-day box, but is he keeping the promises? Does he give you the impression that he's keeping them and going to?
When you say, did he keep his problem to conservatives, my fallback is Gorsuch. Yes.
Well,
there were so many people that voted for Trump for one reason and one reason only, because he laid out the best conservative list of potential judges that you could come up with, endorsed by every conservative group across the globe, and he delivered.
In 100 days, he has proved to me he is the most pro-life president, not words, actions. He's in 100 days, whether you're pro-choice out there, whatever, in 100 days, he has proved to me that evangelicals did not make a mistake for the reasons they voted for him in 100 days. He has returned more things that we don't have enough time back to the states. He's actually returned back to the states the decision on whether the states want to fund Planned Parenthood or not. Your state can actually defund them now, okay? It was critical in the health care bill, which we need to see. Doug Collins said on this show, you remember the interview? He said it's simple, it defunded Planned Parenthood. So for evangelicals within 100 days, he has done everything he possibly can to show them, hey, I'm on your side. Christians, I mean, this guy said a lot of vulgar stuff. And we know that, we know who he is. But as far as Christians out there and freedom to worship and whatever, I don't know another president. Go ahead.
But in this extension that they're going to pass tomorrow to keep the government running, there's still a loophole in there that lets them do you know, let's Planned Parenthood get money, and yet they're fighting the wall, okay? I mean, they won't put anything in there to fund the wall.
Well, when you do a continuing resolution, you do just go ahead and greenlight the continuing spending of whatever was there. So I understand what you're saying.
But he also, he has, in his 2018 budget request, he's got a 13% reduction to the Department of Education and a 31% reduction to the EPA.
EPA, yep.
Okay? I mean, those are big cuts that you know, make a difference.
The top three were EPA, State Department, and what's the third?
Education.
Education, yeah.
And another thing that he did, one of his campaign promises was to put a ban, a lifetime ban on lobbying, which he did.
Yes, he did.
And a 5-year one on congressional officials. And so he did an executive order on the lobbying, which he said he would do, that he wasn't going to let people from his administration go out there and make money, you know, the millions of dollars walking right back into the door at Congress to undo the things they just did when they were in, you know.
He undid the climate change directive too. That was huge.
Yes, climate change.
Wilbur Ross, who's Commerce Secretary, is just about ready to do NAFTA. They've got all the...
It came out yesterday. Trump said he was going to take every deal and it was going to be good for us. So it's just like with NATO. They spent a week saying that he flip-flopped. No, he didn't. He went over there, he assessed it. He showed Russia that he was going to support the European allies, because when you get into NATO, if you show you're against NATO, then you have an aggressor like Russia, because now you start getting into these Baltic states, and you get into the smaller ones. NATO, you first come to mind, you go to Germany and Great Britain and France. No. Start looking at these smaller states, smaller governments that rely on us.
Like Montenegro, which he brought into NATO.
Right, so he basically, by saying, his foreign policy has been brilliant, by saying, hey, it was obsolete. I gotta say, I love that. I should do a show that's called What I Love the Guy Said. The guy said, hey, it was obsolete yesterday, it's not anymore. Move on. I was like, wow, I love it, you know?
Well, he wanted to pull out of NATO primarily because we were supporting the whole thing.
That's exactly
and everybody
right.
has started paying their bills. Okay, and so why would we pull out then? I mean, it does.
Hey, Rex, go over there, tell them if they pay all their bills, we'll show support and Russia won't run over them with tanks. But if they don't and Putin runs over them with tanks, I'm not asking the people out in Kansas and Iowa to pay their bills.
Again,
is that what basically happened?
That's his MO. What he did the same thing with NAFTA.
Right.
We're pulling out of NAFTA. This is ridiculous. Now what's going on? He's meeting with the president of Mexico and the Prime Minister of Canada.
So
and they're all coming to the table, hey, we're going to make this right.
On one day, he puts it to the timber industry north of our border, and he takes care of Wisconsin dairy farmers, and now they want to meet. You ever notice they want to meet immediately?
Well, also, you know, I just came back from Canada, and one of the things I noticed was the price of milk. I mean, it was $3.99 for a 4-pound box, and I was walking in to pay for gas, and I thought, 4-pound box, that's only a half a gallon. $3.99 for a half a gallon. And so I was talking to my brother-in-law and at breakfast, and he said that they have the largest dairy cartel. Okay, the government controls every drop of milk, and it is, the prices never waver. I mean, they get more per 100 pounds of milk, or however it's measured, like 10 times what a Wisconsin dairy farmer gets. I mean, Keith's cousin is a dairy farmer in Wisconsin that you had on your show. Yeah. And I mean, he finally had to shut down, and he sold the 600 cows.
Now they want to meet
1,000 acres, and because he couldn't sell the milk for what it costs just to feed the cows, much less, you know, not forget return. He couldn't even pay the rest of the expenses. he couldn't get enough per 100 gallons or 100.
And that's in
whatever.
Wisconsin. Let's
Okay.
let the viewers know. We are talking about a dairy farmer in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Look,
That's why they call them hosers up there, because they've been doing this to those people. They've been hosing.
Right. You got your joke in. Okay. Look at your notes.
We need to discuss immigration.
There you go. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Look at your notes, see what topic, because we got 8 minutes, and then there's going to be a couple rapid fire. What do you think about this or that? So immigration. Yes, let's wrap up. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he's done several executive orders on immigration. I mean, he can't solve everything, but it allowed him to hire 15,000 more, Border Patrol and INS people, ICE people.
Homeland Security.
Yeah, 10,000 more customs officers and 5,000 more Border Patrol agents. And he's working on a merit-based immigration system. I realize the whole immigration issue is very complex, and he understands that. But if he can just stop everyone from coming in, that's, and kind of work with what we've got here and get rid of the people who are here illegally, or at least the criminal ones. But anyway, the H-1B visa program, he's modified that so that was a huge loophole for bringing people here.
It's the Buy American.
Yes, and he just signed that Buy American, Hire American executive order.
Right.
And it's and expanded the deportation process. I mean, if you look at what's happening now, I mean, the borders are almost quiet. I mean, it's
70% reduction. And I will tell you this, I've said this on the show already, for those of you that view every day, I've said before, it is tough for me to pick my top cabinet member. That's really tough. And I do like Sessions, but the guy that comes to the top for me is HHS Secretary John Kelly. General Kelly, every time he talks, when he says the wall is essential, I mean, I take that to the bank, the old expression. So immigration, so the wall. How many of you are tired of hearing anybody say, how are we going to pay for it? Are you tired of that? How are we going to pay for it?
I love what Ted Cruz came up with yesterday.
Absolutely.
Ted Cruz came up with one of his. He admittedly he was big enough to say that it wasn't his idea. It was one of his staffers that came up with the El Chapo Act. Right. He's got $14 billion in assets sitting scattered around, and if they prosecute El Chapo, which they probably will, then the federal government will have the right to go seize that property. That's just about enough to pay for the wall. Brilliant idea.
All right. Do you think we need the wall on the southern border, Joey?
Yes.
Rick?
No, maybe not the whole border, but
technology in some areas will. But you agree with that?
That was going to be my caveat. Technology in some, drone technology, but yes, we need a barrier in general terms.
Just to guess, because unless somebody knows someone, and that wouldn't be unusual within this group, but just to guess, what would you think the mood is with anyone connected to border security, border agents, along that, ranchers? What do you think the mood is?
Well, I think that most of the border patrol and security people are almost maybe euphoric, it comes to mind, in that they can finally do their job. That's all they've really cared about. They didn't sign up for those jobs and apply for them to sit there and just, put a tag on someone and carry them back to the border so they can come back over tomorrow on a different van. I mean, they had to have felt worthless, and I think they feel that they have meaning and purpose now, and they can finally see that they're accomplishing something. But the people that live along the border, I've read a lot of things about, some of them are concerned because they own that property, building this wall. They can't have access to the river, let's say if you live in Texas. And, we enjoy our river here. I can see where they might enjoy recreation along the river. But then maybe the wall won't be built on that exact section. Maybe we can finally negotiate and build it on the other side of the river.
You know, an integral part to closing this whole loop is going to be sanctuary cities too.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Because you know they can be as euphoric as we think they are, but until we solve that issue, I mean they're really butting heads.
We have 3 minutes, so here let's put it like this. What do you think? In 100, we've done 100 days only because the others are out there. We do realize there's basically all 4 years left in the man's presidency. What are some of the biggest concerns? Really quick bullet points that you see that he's going to face that are what I call, not North Korea, I understand the difficulty there, but at home domestically, what are some of the things you think he's going to have to face that are going to be a lot more difficult than what he's dealing with now? Anything come to mind?
The implementation of the healthcare plan. He's going to own it.
He's going to.
If he doesn't own it already, he's going to own it.
So if it's up, he's up. If it's down, he's down. He's going to own it.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. What say you, Joey? Anything that really concerns you out there on the horizon? That, because I say the media puts everything under the surface, and we're the ones that have to dig under the surface. Go ahead.
Well, we really haven't touched on sort of education and, you know, the environment issues, which are pretty enormous, and especially this climate, the
Paris Climate Initiative?
Yes, but what, global warming.
Global warming,
okay,
right.
My brain doesn't always function. I think that worldwide, because the other countries, there's still all these, you know, scientists that seem to think that that's a huge issue, and when we pull out of it, you know, that could be a problem. But I certainly hope that we do. There's so much of what we've already talked about that is, you know, that's enough for the next 2 years. I mean,
I knew we wouldn't get 100 days. I knew we could probably get in 8. Okay, because the guy doesn't stop. So we are pushing 10 o'clock. I think the debt, and I don't mean just the debt that people see $20 trillion. I think Puerto Rico. I think Illinois. I think the debt on student loans. I think Donald Trump. And I support you, Mr. President. I know it was there when you took office on January 20th, but I think you have some mountains to climb that are enormous, and I hope that the American people will support you in what you have to do in Congress. Number one thing, just throw it out there, what do you love most about the guy? Rick?
What do I love most about the guy? That he's making a change, he's making a difference. He's upsetting the apple cart. It's not business as usual, as people are really tired of business as usual. And I don't want to use the word drain the swamp. Just, you know, let's take a business approach to government instead of...
What do you got, Joanne? What do you love the guy? What do you love most about him?
He looks people in the eye and he tells you what's going on. We spent 8 years not knowing what was even being presented to Congress, if anything. I mean, he is direct. He comes out and talks to the people. He still comes and does public appearances. I mean, we never saw our previous president unless he made a, you know, campaign contribution when it was time for re-election. Other than that, we didn't know what was going on. I just like his openness, his, I'll use transparency.
Twitter. I like Twitter. Folks, it is 10 o'clock. Thank you guys very much. I knew we would only get 9 or 10 days in, all jokes aside. Running just a little late for the kiddies to see. Let me wrap this up. You know, Mom always says the company you keep, all right? You know, all those lectures you used to get about the company you keep. Folks, I've watched for the last 100 days Trump forge what I call some friendships and relationships with different people. People that are concerned with Goldman Sachs. People that are concerned with other areas. But I've yet to see him and, you know, Lindsey Graham and John McCain, you know, at Mar-a-Lago playing golf. Maybe I just am missing something. But every day it seems like he gets a little closer to people like Ted Cruz, a little closer to people like Rand Paul. So it's the company you keep. I like what the guy's doing. I support him. And there's a reason why 98 or 96% of Americans that voted for Trump, not party, still support their vote. So, Mr. President, we wish you well. We thank you for the first 100 days, and we look forward to the next 3.5 years, 4 years. And I do know as soon as the GDP hits around 4% GDP, guy can basically do anything he wants. He'll take care of North Korea. He'll take care of Iran. We are the world leader within 100 days. Schools are being returned back to the states. Education is getting returned back to the states. Things are getting returned back to the states. And I'll leave what Rick said. Gorsuch. That's enough. We'll end on that. Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court. That's a big promise and something to build on. I'm your host, BKP. Stay tuned. It's 10:02. We're running a little late for the Katie Sassine Show. Thank you guys very much.
Buy stock before 4%.
I like the company you keep.
ACE is your helpful